What is the crack, everyone? B2B Sports. We are back. I don't know what episode number it is, but Sam is here as
I'm
per
in.
usual. Standard crack. It's been a mad period for Chelsea Football Club, and it didn't get any simpler yesterday. So we'll start with the Champions League. Real Madrid 2, Chelsea nil. Ben Chilwell, red card. Just it was a tough watch. I can't lie. It was a
It
tough
wasn't,
watch.
at no point did they play well. Had a couple of chances. Courtois made some good saves, but apart from that, they just it just looked wrong. Everything they did. Um, Unfortunate to have the injury to
Koulibaly, yeah, yeah.
Koulibaly. Yeah, just it was a poor effort. Absolutely poor effort. Ben Chilwell, I don't know why he did it. It seems silly.
Yeah, it did seem sillier. I think Cucurella sort of, classic Cucurella. I think he
That
got out of
position.
position.
That position. He's centre back.
Yeah, I know.
He's not a centre back. Well, why the fuck is he there?
I don't know. Well, he played centre back, didn't he, for under Potter at Brighton. But at Chelsea, it's just not worked this year. When they've moved him there. In general, he's not worked anywhere where he's played.
No, it's true. Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Cucurella was just out of position, and then Chilwell was tracking back. And you're right. In the heat of the moment, well, in hindsight, he shouldn't have done it. But in the heat of the moment, it was such a quick decision he made, and that was it. It was a straight red. It was.
Yeah, it was. There was no question. He dragged him back quite obviously. Um, I think the angle and that he was running onto the ball meant he probably didn't have to do it. Kepa could come out, close down the angle. I feel like that could have been avoided. And also, yes, they may score, but you still got 11 men.
Exactly.
Um,
In if you looking back at the game, I actually think we did all right with 10 men to only concede one.
Surprisingly,
Do you know what I mean?
surprisingly, yeah. I mean, went for to five at the back, obviously, which you kind of have to do when you go down to 10 men against Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And played probably as well as you could have done. Unlucky to concede, to be fair.
I mean, it was clear to me that we're just so low on confidence, man. I saw the team sheet on paper, and he looked all right. I could see what Lampard was going for. He went with the back five. He brought Kante in. He brought Thiago Silva back in, and we had that midfield. I was excited to see that midfield three, but mate, we were so low on confidence that the passing was awful. Obviously, Real Madrid did quite well on the high press, and they
Yeah,
stopped a lot of counter attacking opportunities. But we just had no time on the ball, man. No time at all. Couldn't find Raheem or João Felix up top, so they were just null and void. To be honest, they might as well have not even been there half the time. They had a couple of chances, to be fair to them, though, which it's Chelsea's luck this year that Courtois makes a great save from Sterling. Um, but yeah, it's one of those. It was a terrible watch, and I was just sat there pretty much biting my nails for the whole 90 minutes, just hoping that we don't concede four, five, six.
yeah.
Um,
And you, to be fair, done well to only be 2-0 down going into the second leg.
yeah, I
'Cause
mean,
that's doable at least.
yeah, Stamford Bridge. Never say never, but in our current form, he's looking terribly
Well, yeah, I
unlikely.
mean, you haven't scored a goal in like what 6 hours or something?
Yeah,
Six
we
hours.
stat here. We've not scored a goal in 4 matches, and this is the first time since for 30 years since that's happened. That Chelsea have not scored a single goal, for 4 matches straight.
That is mad. I mean, you need a striker, and
God,
you just extended Enzo Fernandez's contract by another year. What the fuck? He has an 8.5 year. He's there till 2032. Fine. I mean, he's probably at the moment the last person you want to be given an extra 1 year. Why? Why? I don't get it. I just don't get it. That
we're
actually
just in,
baffles me.
we're imprisoning him, mate. He can't. He's trapped now. He can't get out.
I mean, he's just earning a paycheck. He's not even doing anything.
I honestly believe I don't know the real reasons, but I there's been some rumors floating about financial fair play implications this year, and at the end of the year we're going to have to get rid of quite a lot of deadwood, and maybe that's another loophole tactic of extending him for another year that it avoids a percentage of financial fair play, whatever it is. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Chelsea are needing of some sort of kind of CPR at the moment just to get them going. It's looking a bit dire.
it is, mate, honestly. And I was looking at the fixtures, and we've got some tough schedules remaining, and
Mm.
it's actually quite possible that Frank Lampard won't win again.
It's quite possible they get sacked.
I mean, he's lost. I mean, this is over the course of Everton and now Chelsea, but he's lost 13 of his last 16 matches as a manager. Um,
Oh, good. I still don't really understand why you hired him back.
I did a video about this, so if you want to check it out, go. I did one last week about talking about the madness at Chelsea, but you know, I actually think that signing Lampard was the right decision once we've sacked Potter. But sacking Potter, I'm in an eye on whether that was the correct decision. I think we probably could have given him until the end of the season, but once they sacked him,
Mm.
I don't expect Bruno to stay in charge for the rest of the season, especially if he's part of Graham's backroom stuff. So what could you have done?
Try and get Poch back, try and get Nagelsmann. Like, there's other managers that have proven themselves. Like Lampard has yet to prove himself as a manager at all.
No, it's true.
He wasn't good in Chelsea's first in his first Chelsea
He
stint,
had one
which
good season. I'm saying that one good season.
one goodish season. Um, and then it was awful at Everton.
Mm,
And now at the moment his start has been. I mean, the start can't be wholly down to him, obviously, because coming into a team right at the end is a bit mad. Um, but at the end of the day, he's I don't rate him as a manager.
I kind of think like, what do you expect though? Because we've got like so many new players, constant changes of manager. That what do you expect? Like,
Yeah,
I think any manager would struggle at this point in the season. The players
yeah.
don't really know each other that well. Do you know what I mean?
No,
So
it'll
I
be
think anyone would struggle.
a bigger view into what's happening like at the beginning of next. If he's I, I just don't get it. I don't get having Frank Lampard in for less than half a season, just for him to lose more games. Because that's what he's doing. He is just going to lose more games, and it's not going to be his fault
No,
wholly
no.
because of the way Chelsea's set up at the moment. But he's going to lose more games, and it's just going to just eat away at him.
I think that's actually a good point because I've never really thought about it from his perspective before. I've only thought about it from Chelsea's. Like, if he wants to pursue management still as a career after his Chelsea stint is ended, right, like you said, like he might not win a game, and that's
Yeah,
only going to damage his reputation going forward as a
yeah.
manager even
He-
more than it
He's
already is.
gonna if he comes out of the season having like won 4 games or so, like it's not going to be a good look, and he's going to want to go into other management, another place, and be like, "But you were shit."
Yeah,
It's it's going to be so difficult for him. It's going to be another like Gary Neville Valencia thing. Like Gary, he had 1 season, and he still managed to like have a draw with Real Madrid and everything.
yeah,
Um, and he's just quit management.
yeah. He's realised that he's got a punditry seat. I think that's probably a lot easier for him.
At this point, he's going to have like one of the worst percentage win rate in Premier League history for
Is
a manager at a top club.
it is a weird time at the minute. But I still, you know, there's not much hope, but I still wouldn't put it past Chelsea to get a result at Stamford Bridge. I mean, weirder things have happened, but the chance of that happening are extremely unlikely right now. Unless we beat
Yeah,
Brighton like 5-0 at the weekend and have some massive confidence boost. But
I
it's
think you need that. You didn't get it under Potter. You never really got a confident boost at any point under Potter, which is again why I think it was, and I think you agree that it was tough to sack him.
yeah.
It was a bit rough because he hadn't had a game where it shone out what he did with the team. He
Mm.
may have had like a game or so where he won like 4-1 or something. I can't try to remember who it was. But that was a rare occasion. Um, you just need a little bit of a run just to get back in the confidence. But I mean, I just think I fully think you're lacking strikers.
Almost definitely, mate. We're goals are quite clearly where we're struggling right now.
Hmm.
And with looking back at the Real Madrid game, I know we didn't have many chances, but the chances that we had, though, I'd say they were half decent chances.
Hmm.
And any decent striker, I mean, we'll get into Haaland a little bit later, but Haaland would have put those away and
Yeah.
taken those. Whereas these, Joao Felix at the minute, Sterling, these wingers, Havertz, they're not clinical enough at this
No,
current point in time. So we need.
no, and it's unfair for them to be in that position because it's positions they don't wouldn't normally play and they don't excel there. They've never been asked to score 15 goals a season. And 15 goals a season for a striker isn't huge, but they need to be scoring 15 as an attacking midfielder up front.
It seems like for the past like 3 or 4 years that our top goal scorer has been a central midfielder. Like, I think
Yeah,
Mount potentially was last year or the year before. Obviously, Jorginho was had like 7 goals, and I think all of them were penalties. And I think he was
yeah.
Chelsea's top scorer a few years ago. And I'm just crying out for a Haaland. Or to be fair,
Yeah.
if you gave me the money, I'd take Victor Osimhen. I think he's like that
Oh, yeah.
Drogba type that I would love. But again, we're in the mud with financial fair play, and we'd have to release a lot of deadwood at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, I think at this rate, I don't think Kante is going to be there for long,
do you
just
think?
because of injury, and he's not played much. I feel like he's in terms of him and like Kovacic, he'd be the first to go.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's just tough, and
So,
you just spent a lot of money in the transfer window for basically nothing at the moment.
that's what it
Literally,
feels like. I know, obviously, it might come good in the long run, but it just feels like can't Todd have just done this a slightly different way? Like, and then when he was coming out before the Real Madrid game yesterday, it was like, oh yeah, Chelsea going to win 3-0. It's like, Todd, come on, man. Stop,
at least have some kind of not modesty, but just
just realism.
rein it in. Yeah,
Yeah,
I understand you want to have a winning mentality. You want to feel like you can win every game. But you've also got to be realistic.
yeah, exactly.
Like, you're like, are you 10th in the table?
11th, mate.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, 11th in the table. Yeah, he needs to have a bit of a reality check, but hey ho.
We'll talk about Madrid quickly because they deserve credit too. Although I don't think they were at their best yesterday, but they still deserve credit. I don't know if you saw, but Carlo Ancelotti is an absolute don. Did you see his touch? The ball obviously was booted out to the sidelines, and he controlled it, flicked it up, couple of knees, and laid it off. I was like, oh my god, Don Carlo's
Yeah.
got it at the age
Sign
of
him.
like what? Yeah, I know. I was signing up. 8-year deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so shout out Carlo Ancelotti and also Benzema as well, man. Like I saw a tweet about his goals in his last 9 knockout games, and he scored a ridiculous amount. I think he scored three against PSG, three against Chelsea, one against Chelsea, two against City, one against Liverpool, two against Liverpool, one against Liverpool, and one against Chelsea. So he's like prolific, man. And I think he's finally getting the credit he deserves because obviously he's been severely underrated.
Yeah.
And now people are really starting to put him up there. And I think what contributes massively to his success recently is like Vinicius Junior, like because Vinicius Junior attracts so much attention and provides so many assists to Benzema that he just allows Benzema to be Benzema, and he doesn't
Yeah.
have to do it all on his own.
Really plays into his style. So like Vinny will do all the running and then just like lay it off for Benzema just to tap home or just be in the right. It's quite fun to watch. And Benzema's always been like a good goal scorer. Like, he scored great goals all the time. I think it's probably helped him that he was in the shadow of kind of Ronaldo, even Bale, and I think it's helped him in the fact that no one else has wanted to buy him. You
Mhm.
never really hear that Benzema's going to be off this
No, yeah,
season.
you don't hear much
It's
interest.
always his teammates, yeah. I don't know whether that's just because he obviously wants to stay, but I think staying at Real Madrid, it's been the best thing for him.
Mm.
He's sick. I really
He's
rate him.
he's so good. Um, Other results in the Champions League: Milan beat Napoli, bit of a shock. I know Osimhen was out with a muscle injury, but I think he's coming back for the second leg. Um, and
I know.
also, Inter beat Benfica 2-0. Imagine if that sets up an Inter Milan semi-final.
That'd be so good.
Both legs, obviously, at the San
Yeah.
Siro. Oh my God. That is OG like Champions League football. That is like like what we grew up in, like Milan, like Derby and that kind of thing era.
So good.
And then we've also got to talk about Man City beating Bayern 3-0. Not so much of a happy return to Champions League football for Thomas Tuchel. And then there's a bit of drama afterwards, wasn't there, Sam? A little bit.
Yeah, Sadio Mane just what did he punched Sane, which is apparently Sane had said something to Mane, and they've all apologized now. But I mean, Mane's been suspended for their like next game,
Yeah.
and fined and everything. So I, out of all the players, you wouldn't expect it to be Mane.
Hmm.
Um,
Having said
yeah,
having said that, didn't a few years ago, didn't he fall out with Salah? Or did he fall out? Or was it something to do with contract negotiations or something like that? I swear they fell out a couple of years ago.
yeah, maybe I can't remember. But I mean, it just kind of confounded the 3-0 defeat. Haaland scoring again. I think he's now scored the most in a single season for a Premier League player.
Yeah, he's broken the record, yeah, in all competitions. 45
Yeah,
goals, I think he has this year. He's,
just ridiculous.
do you know he's scored 45 goals in all competitions and Chelsea have scored 41?
I mean, he's scored. What's he on now? 30 goals in the season. You scored like 27,
Yeah,
just in the
honestly,
Prem. Like that's disgusting.
it's painful, but I like it. I'm here for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm not knocking Haaland. It's painful on the Chelsea point of view, but I'm not.
yeah. No, I'm glad he's proving. A lot of people who said that he'd be good, but wouldn't be as insane as everyone was saying, and he's actually been insane.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
it's hands down. He's got what 8, 9 games to break the record. I think he needs.
he's got like he needs like 5 goals.
I've got. He's gonna smash it easy. He'll probably get it
Yeah,
next game. Score.
yeah. Just 5-1. That's banging. Yeah, he's a machine, and City are looking like a machine. They played so well against Bayern.
Mm,
I think that they'll probably easily get through to the semis. I mean, they may do a City and just have like one awful game,
yeah,
which they seem to have in the Champions League. Um, but yeah, I feel like they're doing well. And then Arsenal tripped up, so in the
yeah,
league they can get there. So yeah, it's exciting. I think they're running for the Prem will be a bit exciting because I think City have a game in hand,
they
and then
do.
they'll
They
they
do.
win that they'll be 3 points behind or
I think so.
two
I
points.
think it's close. I think they're five. I think it might be 5 points at the minute, with
Yeah,
a game in hand over City. I might have to check that, but I think that's right. But yeah, man, it's looking like it's going to go down right to the wire. And
yeah,
if I had to put my money on it right now, it would be City. They're just like you said, they're looking unreal. I think they're on an 8 or 9 game win streak, looking comfortable. And it's
mm,
whether Arsenal can deal with the pressure. They've dealt with
yeah,
it all season long, but now that 2-2 draw, they were 2-0
yeah.
up, Sam. They were
I
2-0
know, I
up.
know. And against a struggling Liverpool team, and I mean, to be fair, I watched the very end of that game, and um, what's his name? Who's the Arsenal goalkeeper? I forgot his name.
Oh,
Ramsdale
Ramsdale,
made some insane saves.
really,
Like
really.
two absolutely ridiculous saves um, that just shouldn't happen. One of them was like a curling effort from Salah, and he got like the tiniest of fingertips on it to send it around the post. And then the second was like the 96th minute, and I don't know what Liverpool player it was, but he was like on the line and he chested it. and Ramsdale still managed to get to it. Yeah, absolutely crazy. So it's interesting.
It is interesting. Is it? I didn't. To be fair, I didn't watch that game, although it sounds pretty exciting. The only thing I heard about that game or knew about that game was what's his name? Left back Robertson.
Yeah. Oh, he
Robertson.
got elbowed by the referee.
Yeah, got elbowed by the referee. Um,
Which I have a thought on this. In terms of referee, him getting so much shit for uh, elbowing. He did throw his elbow back, but the amount of shit that referees get every single game forever, and these players never get reprimanded for anything they say. Like, yeah, they can get sent off, but referees not gonna always send somebody off for something they say because it's obviously nobody else. There's no like witnesses. Nobody's going to say anything other than if they have a bad tackle. Yeah, you can send somebody off, but if somebody just says some rude words, it's always more contentious. So I think the calls for him to be banned for the whole season, and I was like, I want to know what he said to him,
yeah, exactly. Like
and that's
because
the only way you're going to get to the bottom of it.
he must have done. He must have said something
Hmm.
like equally as bad, in actions, in words that for him to react like that.
Yeah. Or
And
I like if he didn't, then it was obviously a bad reaction. But I think you do need microphones on ref because there's some of the stuff these players must say to them is awful.
I'm surprised it's not actually happening more often.
Yeah,
The ref or an assistant ref is like actually like chin someone.
yeah. It's like shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And like other players were calling for him to get the same ban that and same like reprimand that Mitrovic got, which was like eight games and like a massive fine. It was like, well, one, the referee doesn't get paid the same amount as a
Oh,
footballer,
yeah, 100%.
so it's a bit different. So yeah, I feel like it's been blown well out of proportion, and um, I think referees should be protected more, and
Mhm.
they need cameras and microphones on the referee, because that's the only way you can kind of get to the bottom of what these players are saying. Because I think players quite often get away with too much.
Yeah. Also, it's Robertson. Like he just seems
Yeah,
like a yappy, like little shit. Like, do you know what I mean? He's always yapping away. Like,
yes. I can very much see him of saying said something. I mean, like, and Robertson didn't like go down or anything. It just, yeah, I think it's been blown out of proportion,
yeah.
and nothing should happen. But in live news, Man United are 2-0 up.
2-0. 2-0 up. Fair play.
Roberts at the double.
Sabitzer.
Yeah, like I
I
don't know how that
mean,
happened.
I'm sorry. Like, why do you say that so casually? Like,
So Roberts at the double, like usual.
what? Like he's hardened.
Yeah.
Like you didn't even react. You
No,
didn't even go. Bloody hell, Sabitzer.
no, it's common, mate. Roberts always scores. What a
God's
legend.
sake. I was
What a
going to
legend.
say. I was going to say actually about United. They've ruled
Rashford.
Rashford out, haven't they, for a few
Yeah.
games with a muscle injury.
I mean, anything Casemiro and Ericsson are back, so
Hmm.
it's not
Yeah,
too bad.
about time Casemiro back.
I know,
He
geez,
plays
God,
one game and gets sent off again.
every single time. I mean, and they're both harsh. I mean, I suppose the second one wasn't as harsh. The first one, like he was having a joke with,
Yeah,
because he was both laughing, and he got sent off. It's like, really? And then the second one, it did roll over the ball, so I can understand why it's a straight red.
that's
But he
fair
did
for
get the
me. That one.
ball.
That's fair.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, it's good to have him back. I think because it's very much needed to kind of steady the ship. And we got Sancho and Weghorst to fill in for. We've got Martial.
I forget about Marshall. I forget he's even a United player. To be
Everyone
honest.
does. He hasn't played in Yonks, and then he played this weekend. Did he score? He might have scored this weekend. No, no, I can't remember. But ridiculous.
Also,
I
shout
think
out Villa as well. Shout out Villa. Like
how have they done that? Unai Emery is an insane manager.
he's working his magic. I know exactly what his plan is. He's going to get him into Europa and he's going to win the Europa as he always does.
Yeah,
That is his comp.
it is. It's his plan. It's God's plan.
He's got to plan. To be fair, they've
Yeah.
got they've got Newcastle this weekend, which
It's tough.
if you'd said that fixture about 3 or 4 years ago, you're gone. That's dead. But
Yeah.
now sixth versus what, third or fourth? Where are Newcastle? Third.
I think we're joint third at the moment, but they're above us on goal difference.
So yeah, that should be a cracking game to be fair.
Oh, yeah.
And also I've just got to shout out the CBS coverage again ahead of the game at the minute. I think they did a piece about the Lukaku sort of racist incident when the ref sent him off after scoring his penalty, and they just spoke openly and freely about it, and it was just nice to see. And like obviously they've got such good camaraderie between the pundits, and I think they're well clear of like Sky Sports and BT at the minute, like well clear, and which is mad from an American network, isn't it? Like, just get the right
It's-
people together and look what happens.
yeah, and that was just a ridiculous incident that should never have happened. But that's kind of the state of Italian football in terms of the whole racism stuff.
I mean,
Um,
ever since I've been watching football, it's always been like that in Italy. And I'm not saying it's any better in the Premier League because there are still cases of
yeah,
that in the Premier League, but Italy is it's renowned. It happens so frequently in Italy.
yeah,
Yeah, and it was just a poor situation. I think that area of the stadium's only got like a 1 game ban or something like that.
yeah,
It's not enough. It's not
yeah,
enough. How are they going to deter people? They'll just come back in after a week off. So,
exactly. No, it's
um,
disgusting and it needs to be sorted.
and then the last bit of football news, I guess we have to talk about Wrexham. Do you see?
Oh, I watched the game.
Did you watch it?
I watched the game. What a game! I was excited. It was end to end. Um, I think I started. I didn't watch the first half, but I watched the second half. Wrexham 1-0 down to a great free kick and just turned it around. Turned it around. So the first goal was a bit. It was a bit of a. Didn't know whether it should stand.
Mm.
Because Paul Mullen, it seemed that he could have tripped the defender over. But he
Yeah,
went down really quickly, nowhere near the ball, and it was the first time finish from Mullen, and he scored, and it was a great finish. I'm
there
happy
is
that it counted.
there is no way Mullin is a non-league striker, by the way.
Jesus Christ, no, actually ridiculous. But they bought him from like a League One team, I
Yeah,
think.
absolutely.
They managed to get him was ridiculous, but um,
No.
yeah, and then turned it around with the second goal. Top bins from there. I think they're left back or left wing.
Yeah.
Um, and then Notts County scored again, and then Wrexham pulled it back again to go into the lead. A bit of an odd one because the Notts County defender just basically like backheeled it a foot back into Mullen, and then he just laid it off, and it was a bit of an easy goal, but it was good to watch. And then good old YouTuber Ben Foster doing
YouTuber turned pro.
honestly, with a great penalty save. And I think he went on like a podcast or something afterwards, talking about what he was going through his mind and everything. And it's interesting to see. Like, obviously, he's a very experienced goalkeeper. Played in the Prem, played for England, played tons of football. Basically saying that all of our data and everything said he was going to go to Foster's left. But then on the day, he was lined up kind of straight onto the ball. So going to his left would have been quite difficult. So he went right, and it went right. So, yeah, it was.
Was he on the
Very,
line though? Was he on the line?
I mean, probably not, but I think that's a stupid rule.
It's not. You
I
don't
don't.
have VAR in the non-league anyway, do you?
No, no, and he wasn't. He wasn't. But I mean, I think it's a stupid rule unless they've come like feet off their line and they've come so far ahead. I think it's a stupid rule because I you can score a penalty. Professionals should be able to score penalties pretty easily.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I watched bits and bobs, and I heard Ryan Reynolds talking after the game, and you know, he was really, really. What surprised me is like he actually loves football. Like many people
Yeah,
from the outside point of view were like, oh, he's a Hollywood owner taking over. Like he's just plowing money into it. Of course they're going to go up, but he actually knows football. He's actually invested
yeah.
his so much time of his life into Wrexham,
And
and
he's at a lot of games.
yeah, exactly. And he really like like gave Notts County their plaudits and said that, and rightly so, that it is wrong that only one can get automatic promotion and the other one
Yeah.
have to fight through the playoffs. And that is wrong. And props to him for shouting that out and giving Notts County their plaudits. Like he didn't have to do that. So
Yeah. I think, well, too, for both of them, him and Rob McElhenney, they're both really good owners.
yeah,
They're doing everything right so far. I don't think they've put a foot out of place in terms of their ownership. Because it could have been a whole just kind of tabloid newspaper
yeah,
article, and it just a kind of a showbiz stunt. And yeah, they've made a documentary about it, but the documentary is pretty good.
hmm
And it's plowing money into a non-league team that will help them in the future. Like it's only going to do good things. And they actually seem properly invested. Like I think Rob's at most games.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's like exciting to see. And they interact so well with the fans, with the players. I think like Ben Foster's wages are tiny. I think all he asks for is like travel expenses and accommodation.
So,
And I think like he's only there because their number one goalkeeper is injured.
hmm
Um, so yeah, I think it's pretty good. And like Ben Foster he did play for Wrexham.
yeah, it was one of his first clubs, wasn't it? Or he
Yeah,
went out on loan.
he was first out on loan with them when he was on loan from Stoke, and he won a cup with them. And he's just happy to be there. I think
Also, Wrexham's like football heritage. Like I didn't realize what the
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 oldest
oldest the oldest club or one of the oldest clubs
in
in
Europe. Yeah,
yeah.
it's so old. I didn't realize it was that either, but um, no, it is proper football heritage, and what they've been through as a club is mad. Like
hmm
their owner was so corrupt,
Yeah.
um, and just really made them worse for wear, and them becoming a fan owned club meant everything. It's quite interesting watching the documentary that like their consultation to be bought out by Rob and Ryan Reynolds was like took ages. There's multiple interviews with loads of fans basically who were basically grilling them on like what are your intentions? They have to
Yeah.
be good. Um, so yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's cool.
Mm.
Um, where do you want to go to next in sport? What sport do you want to talk about?
John Rahm wins the Masters.
There you go. Nice one. Bit of
Absolute
chaotic
legend.
Masters though, to be fair. Bit of a,
Bit
bit of
random.
weird.
Lots of weather changes. Three trees fell down.
Yeah, that was dangerous, man. That could have easily killed someone.
Honestly, the fact that nobody was hurt is ridiculous. But yeah, three trees fell down. Random increment weather. Had to play like 2 rounds on Sunday. Tiger Woods just about making the cut and then having to withdraw because of injury. I think apparently one of the screws in his leg like pierced the skin,
Oh man.
which is just awful. McIlroy missing the cut, which
Oh,
is great,
McElroy again, man. Every
uh,
time I say about him, he bothers it. And it's,
literally. And then Brooks Koepka played sick. I still don't like him, but Brooks Koepka played sick. Phil Mickelson had the last round of his life and finished tied second.
did he?
Um,
Shout out Phil. He's well old, isn't he?
exactly. But he was absolutely striking the ball and played such a good last round. Um, an amateur who was second for 3 rounds, only really lost it in the third round when it was through the rain and everything. But he finished in the top 20. He was sick. And then John Rahm just kind of was steady throughout the last round. I think Brooks Koepka was like +3 for the round, which is basically why he lost.
Mm.
Um, I think the main talking point though is Patrick Cantley, who was in the group ahead of the final pairing and was like the slowest person.
I heard
Uh,
about this.
so
Yeah.
he was paired up with Victor Hovland, and Hovland had hit his tee shot, and they both hit their tee shot, and he'd walked to the green basically and hit his approach shot off the edge of the green before Cantley even got onto the green. Like, he's trying to hurry them up. Apparently, Koepka and Rahm have spent like 90 odd minutes waiting.
That's mad.
And then Patrick Cantley basically comes out and says, like, yeah, we were all waiting. It's like, no, everyone was waiting for you.
Does
He's had it quite a lot that he's quite a
surely
slow player.
surely like you must get fined in golf if you're too slow.
Well, you can technically, I think, call a clock on somebody, but nobody does. It's like,
Right.
well, it's like those unwritten rules, I think. Or maybe it is, I don't know if I've read that right, or maybe they just want there to be some sort of clock to make people speed up because I think his round took like 4 hours, 25 minutes. And for a professional, like I played golf last week with Callum. I shot 113, 112, and it took us 3 hours, 45 minutes.
Yeah, that is pretty
It should
bad.
not
That
take him 4.5 hours.
is. For a pro as well. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
He would hit it further and more accurate than you
Yeah,
would. Sorry, no disrespect.
he took 40 odd less shots than I did.
Yeah, and he took so long as well. What the
Yeah.
hell?
And there was three of us in our group as well. So there you go.
Sam's rant of the day.
There you go. Patrick Cantley needs to hurry up.
So John Rahm deserved a winner then overall.
Yeah, he's played outstanding this year. I think he's had 3 or 4 wins already. Um, yeah, he's back to number one in the world. Um, yeah, he's on fire.
What's
He's
the next
definitely.
comp? The next big comp coming up?
Well, at the moment, Ramos playing the RBC Heritage. But I'm not sure what the next big one is, to be honest. I think Justin Thomas said that um, a reason why some of the Live players may have done better this year, because Kepka, Mickelson, and somebody else they all play for Live. Um, they may have done better because they haven't played as much and their schedule isn't quite as fixed as busy. But I mean, I think that's just one of those things.
Um, we'll move to NFL because the big news this week is that OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. has gone to the Ravens.
Yeah.
Thoughts, man? What are your thoughts on that one?
It pretty much confirms that Lamar Jackson is probably staying.
Most likely, most likely. But how are they
He
going
left.
to work that? How are they going to restructure that? That's the thing. That's what I'm like.
I don't know. I don't understand how Lamar Jackson is not being paid.
No, exactly. They've paid Odell Beckham like mad money as well. It was like 18 mil.
Yeah,
18.
but they won't pay a quarterback who isn't. He's insanely good, both throwing and running. Like you don't get that often.
No,
And
no.
he's proven himself. He's played in playoff games. He's taken to I think number one seed. Like he's proven himself time and time again, but the Ravens just refuse to pay him.
With the
So I'm
right
not.
team as well, like he would be dangerous,
Yeah.
dangerous.
Well, that's the problem. I think he's with the right team. It's really annoying to see. He deserves a bit more, in my opinion. But hopefully this season he'll ball out with OBJ. But
It'll be
I
interesting
mean,
how it works. I think the NFL draft is at the end of the month, which will be big news for all teams really, to get them last spots before the preseason camps start going. But yeah, still no news on Aaron Rodgers whether he's signed with the Jets or not. It's
no,
punk.
I don't get it. I honestly don't get it because they're going to get all the way to the draft and then he's going to decide on draft day, and it's going to mess up both the Jets and the Packers. Way they, I mean, to be fair, it probably won't mess up the Packers as much
The Packers
if you did.
would have just moved on by now, surely. Like they would
They've
have.
got all enough. Like you've got a quarterback, you just need to give him weapons. Um, but yeah, I don't really understand what's going on with them too. They just fight it out, see
Mm.
what happens. Um, I think it's a bit of an understated draft this year. There's not that much like massive talent that you hear from college coming out. I mean, like is it Stetson Bennett or someone Stenson Bennett? He plays for Alabama, I think. I cannot remember. But yeah, they isn't it, I've not heard as much. And like there wasn't too much happening at the combine.
Mhm.
Um, obviously some quite fast times and some impressive feats, but nothing viral.
I think
Um,
isn't there a quarterback called Will Levis or something like that?
oh yeah,
Um,
I've seen a whole
people,
bit.
yeah, he's quite hot, like hotly tipped to do quite well. But I think the weirdest thing about him is that he recorded himself eating a banana that was brown with the skin on.
Yeah, he eats bananas with skin on, and it's
What's that all
disgusting.
about? I
No,
mean,
I don't
that's
know.
too far
He
from
doesn't
me.
deserve to get drafted. Doesn't deserve to get drafted.
Banana
No,
tax, mate. Just gets drafted to the worst team because of that.
literally. But yeah, I'm just fingers crossed that the Patriots draft well this year. They've managed to do the offseason decently, which they do quite often, but apparently Bill's not happy with Mac Jones.
Yeah, there's a bit of friction there, isn't there?
Bit of friction. Um, which I don't really understand because apparently Mac Jones contacted his Alabama QB coach during the season last year to help him out. Bill Belichick wasn't happy with that, and then they've hired him. Like, so what's the point? What's wrong? Um, I don't know if it's just like media kind of trying to cook up a storm, but yeah, Patriots coming all out. I mean, Vikings need about 20 players because everyone left.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not even going to argue that one. The cornerback, we only signed one cornerback, and we think we've let go about 4 or 5 cornerbacks. So our cornerback room is just like there's no one there. It's just
Yeah, one guy.
yeah.
And then like Adam Thielen leaving, he left and went to the Carolina Panthers. His reasoning was because he 100% sees that the Carolina Panthers can win a Super Bowl.
Adam.
I mean, their quarterback is Baker Mayfield, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, I think so.
And if it wasn't that, I think it was, is it Sam Darnold?
Yeah, I think Sam Darnold went to another team, but he was before that. I don't know. I don't know who is backup or whatnot, but I think it's at the minute. I think it's Baker Mayfield. It's
Yeah.
bad. We don't even know the QBs 100%. So that says it all.
Well, that's an odd statement from Adam Thielen. Um, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen there, but yeah, the Vikings need to draft well.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do. Yeah, I think they want to keep hold of Daniil Hunter because I think you're catch 22 with Daniil because Daniil Hunter is obviously one of the best pass rushing um, defensive ends in the league,
Yeah.
but his trade value is so high. So it's like, what do you do? Like, do you keep him or do you not? So yeah, it's gonna be big decisions from the coaching staff to see where they go. Got to cover some boxing or UFC actually because UFC 287 was this past weekend in Miami, and I just want to talk about um, Israel Adesanya's KO of Alex Pereira. Pereira is an absolute unit. He was a standing TKO last time they fought, and Pereira took the title. And there was a lot of I think they fought 4 times, 3 times, 4 times previously, twice in kickboxing, now two in MMA.
Yeah.
And Pereira's won 3 of those, and now Adesanya's won one. So there was a lot of like anticipation. Adesanya wanting that fight straight away. He didn't want to wait any longer. I think he only took 5 months out before jumping straight back into the cage. Yeah, and he knocked him out. He was against the cage and he was getting
Dave,
teed up.
he's getting rattled.
Yeah, he was getting rattled by Pereira. Like Pereira's on the cage, like punching him, a couple of knees. And then all of a sudden, Adesanya just little pop in the face with a left and a huge right hand stunned him, and then another huge right hand knocked him to the floor, and then a hammer fist to end it. But his celebration got me. I think that was so cool. Like bow and arrow, 3 shots. I think the bow and arrow is Pereira's like thing he does.
Mm.
Thing he does. So
Yeah.
for Adesanya to do that back to him when he's KO'd on the floor, he's pretty cold. I can't lie.
Wasn't there a video that Pereira's son mocked Adesanya when he was on the floor last time? So Adesanya just turned around and did the same celebration at his son. He's like 12.
But there's no
That's
rules. There's
yeah,
absolutely no rules. His son's there crying as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
Oh my
literally.
god.
I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah, he's no rules, man. Absolutely no rules. I do like Adesanya. I think he's a hell of a fighter.
Quite joking, right? Sorry.
Yeah, I think he's a great fighter. I think Pereira's moved up now a weight class, so I think he's going to cause problems up there. But yeah, Adesanya, fair play, incredible, middleweight king. I don't think anyone's going to come close to him. Also, Masvidal retired at the weekend after his loss, so he was quite a key figure.
Mm.
And then in boxing, Jake Paul is signed to fight Nate Diaz. He's also an old UFC fighter.
But I mean, Nate Diaz, isn't he a wrestler?
No, Nate Diaz
Sorry.
actually has a background in boxing, to be fair to him.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
he's also like a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so that's
okay.
why I like strangled Connor like
I was
a
going to
like
say,
Anaconda.
he destroyed Conor basically.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I don't understand Jake Paul's kind of obsession with fighting old UFC fighters. He seems to be going through the retired list of the UFC and just everyone.
He's fought
Uh,
one pro
yeah,
boxer, if you could call Tommy Fury that, and he's gone, yeah, I'll go back to fighting
yeah.
UFC guys.
Well, isn't it? Who's meant to be fighting Tommy Fury now? I forgot who it is.
Oh no, he'd done everyone with promo for this because I was about to say this to the podcast, but it actually came out today. So they did like there was a poster that had Liam Payne
That's the one. Yeah,
from One Direction back in the day and Tommy Fury, and they were like squaring up to each other. I was like, and it said like Manchester Arena or something like that, or
yeah.
Old Trafford, I think it said. And people were like, no, surely they're not going to fight. But it was actually a poster to say that they're both playing in Soccer Aid this year at Old Trafford.
Oh, that's so random.
How random is that?
Yeah, I probably thought like, are they actually going to fight? Like, what the fuck's going on here? I mean, that'd be a hilarious fight, but
It's a weird promo as well. Why look
yeah,
like a fight? Why not just
proper.
go with they're playing for Soccer Aid this year, like or
Yeah,
something football related? I don't know.
literally, that made no sense. But I thought that was quite funny.
And then the last thing, not much F1 news, but the Azerbaijan Grand Prix is up next. That's at the end of April. I think we've got a bit of a break because they're not. There's no Chinese Grand Prix this year, so there's a bit of a break. I think I also saw that Aston Martin have got more points now at this stage of the season. What, 4 races in than they did
Ooh,
all of last year?
races.
What's that? 3 races.
Yeah,
3 races, yeah. Only 3 races. They've got more points than they did last year.
I mean, fair play, doing well. I
They are
rate it.
doing they are doing well.
Lucky at the last Grand Prix, but I mean, I rate it still.
But yeah, there's not too much else going on.
No, still got to wait a bit for the Cricket World Cup and the
Yes, yeah.
Women's Football World Cup as well.
Yeah. When is that? When is the Women's World Cup?
Which on this year? I think because it's in New Zealand and such shit. So I'm guessing it's like going to be in November time.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, England just women lost their first game under their coach.
I did that.
First game in like 25 games they lost against Australia the other night.
Australia
Uh,
good. I know they got Sam Kerr, but I don't know if
yeah, she's the one who scored twice, I think.
actually.
Um, but yeah, it was the first. I mean, apparently they just didn't play well, and to be fair, it's better to lose it now than. And it was a friendly, so like they played a couple of weeks before that. Or when did they play? They played that Thursday night, like literally
Yeah.
last week
Yeah.
in the finalissima of women's football and won on penalties.
Yeah.
So they won 2 trophies out of 2.
Also, talking about women's football, Chelsea got through to the Champions League semi-final
Oh
in
yeah,
chaotic
yeah,
circumstances. Do you remember that? The quarterfinal, it was against Lyon. It was a very close game, and then Lyon gave away a dubious penalty, like in the 96th minute or something like that.
random like that.
It was mad. Yeah, and then Chelsea scored. So yeah, it was crazy. Took them through against. They got Barcelona now in the semi-finals, which I think Barcelona are unreal right now. I think they're like 13 points clear in their league.
Yeah, they're such a good team. I think Chelsea played them in the Champions League final not long back.
And we lost 4-0.
Battered.
Yeah. I
So yeah,
watched
I don't see much.
Yeah.
Oh,
I watched that and I was like, come on, Chelsea,
Yeah, I
come on,
think I watched that as
come on, the
well.
girls. And then yeah, and then there it was.
The second goal was like the most ridiculous own goal I've ever seen.
Yeah, they got it got
So,
peppered, absolutely peppered.
so,
There'd be nothing worse than a professional to get to the final, and to be in with a chance of winning it, and you get absolutely smashed. Like, just the feeling would be horrendous, wouldn't it?
yeah,
But
I couldn't imagine. Oh, tennis is going well. Djokovic lost today.
yeah, Djokovic lost. I saw that. Who did he lose
Yeah.
to? I'd never heard of the bloke before.
Massetti, some Italian. Apparently, it was very topsy-turvy, and Djokovic is still a bit injured with his elbow, but I think he broke him 8 times during that game.
Mad,
So
mad.
much. And it's on clay. Djokovic normally takes a bit of time to get used to clay. Um, and he'll normally lose a game like this in the run up to French Open. But
It's all
yeah,
part of the
bit
plan, then, isn't it? Knowing
yeah,
it's all part of the plan.
all part of the plan. So yeah, the tennis is interesting at the moment. There's a lot of shit talking going on. Um, it's quite funny. Quite enjoying it.
What between not
Between
still
everyone.
going on between Rude and flipping Vavrinka though.
But I think that's died down just because I don't think they talk to each other. So, um, but it's just a lot. I mean, I think a lot of people just losing games they shouldn't lose. A lot of games going down to the wire. Yeah, it's just exciting,
Is
especially
Al
on clay.
is Alcaraz still having injury trouble, or is
A
he?
little bit, yeah.
Can't
But he I think he pulled out of the Monte Carlo Masters. So
Mm.
yeah.
Right, I don't really have any shockers or heroes of the week, but I have a
I
cool
mean,
story.
first,
Go on then. What's your go on?
there's one major shocker.
Let's go. Let go on. Get it out of the way then. Go on.
Just Chelsea.
There you go. There you
There you go. There you
go.
go. Chelsea for the last month have been awful. So there you go.
It's been chaotic. It's been circus. So
Yeah.
if you're a
Kante's,
neutral,
Kante's last 4 games have come under 4 different managers.
that is pretty horrendous, isn't it?
That's
If you
ridiculous.
actually think about it like that, that is pretty bad. So if you're a
Yeah,
neutral and you like watching Chelsea's downfall, then fair play. You're in for a treat.
great. It's great view.
But yeah, my cool story of the week really is I mean Callum sent it through on our group chat as well. Red Bull have designed a skate park which can be suspended by a hot air balloon 2,000 feet in the air. Did you see it?
Yeah. That looks insane. And
The shots
why
were incredible. Like why? Like why? Yeah.
Red Bull are just insane. So the people they sponsor and the kind of daredevils they have are just they do too much.
It's
I can't believe they do it. It's just that would make me shit myself. I could hardly stand on that thing, rather let alone skate on it.
it wasn't I think they made it. I think I was hearing Christian Horner like talk about it, and they made it with some of the carbon fiber used to make the F1 cars. So that's why it
Really?
was so light to go up there. Um, and it needs to be sturdy enough that when the guy comes back down his bike, that it doesn't like dent a hole or like
Yeah.
fall like through it. But the obviously classic Red Bull, the guy was getting air, mate. The guy was like going up and getting air, like on the edge of a flipping
Yeah.
hot air balloon, like absolutely nut job.
Did he have a parachute on?
I don't. To be fair, I don't know. Actually, I can't
Yes.
remember. Maybe it's the Mandela effect or whatever. But
Yeah.
I can't remember a parachute being on. But maybe he did.
No, I can't remember at all. I hope he did, because otherwise, I would have thrown up multiple times.
Do you remember Red Bull did that thing like must have been like nearly 10 years ago now, where that guy just jumped out of a space shuttle and just like free fell. Like,
Yeah.
he just
And the
spin.
video, like it was building up to him doing it, and as he jumped, it looked so ridiculous because he just got so tiny instantly, and you're like,
What the fuck? He was just going like this. I was like, oh my god,
yeah,
like, you're not gonna have any head left after this.
pretty much.
But yeah.
Um,
Anyway, that wraps up the podcast this week. Um, enjoy the weekend of sport. Let's hope Chelsea can get a result at Brighton, but Brighton are decent, so probably not. What's score check on United game before we
2
close?
0 Still 2
2-0.
0
It's a bit
56 minutes in. So with the usual. I mean, it was a 7 minute double.
7 minute brace. You love to see it.
Love to see it. On for the hat trick. Sabbath's a hat trick.
So it's a hat trick. But yeah, that wraps up the end of the pod, and we'll probably see you again next time in a bit.
In a bit.